After a long break, One Piece returns with a new chapter. This chapter was absolutely spectacular and something that no one could have predicted. After the release, things are getting more heated in the final saga, and the world that is already in turmoil is now going to go down an even worse path. All are eagerly waiting in anticipation to see what happens next in One Piece. But as far as this week's chapter goes, it certainly lived up to all expectations and surpassed all of them. The biggest shock in One Piece, Chapter 1125, came when Saint Saturn essentially died. Yes, it is true one of the 5 elders, Saint Saturn, was died in this chapter. In the starting panel of the One Piece, Chapter 1125, we saw Saturn back on his Navy ship, speaking to some vice admirals at first. Of course, this was Oda's way to go over everything that happened on Egghead and show the fans how this war affected the world government. Essentially, the government fulfilled their objectives, for the most part. They were able to kill Vegapunk and the satellites, and they were able to secure York, as well as the power plant required to produce Mother Flame consistently. These were their biggest goals. They also secured the pacifistas as well as the seraphims. However, that certainly doesn't mean there were no failures. For the world government, attacking Egghead bore dire consequences. For one, Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates managed to escape, along with Bonnie and Kuma. These were individuals whom the government wanted at all costs, and they were within Saturn's grasp. The fact that he failed at stopping them meant that things did not go too well for him. But more than that, the fact was that Vegapunk's death triggered a massive message that he sent out to the entire world. This message reached every single corner of the globe and revealed the plans of the world government. It drilled bits from the Void Century and told everyone that the world of One Piece was going to sink, causing great chaos. All these factors put together simply sealed Saturn's fate. We got to see Saint Saturn engulfed in flames, and Imu's rage through it. Imu communicated with Saturn telepathically and told him about his failures. It appears that Imu was mainly concerned with Joy Boy's escape and how that escape led to all the other failings. Primarily, stopping Joy Boy was their biggest concern, and Saturn failed at doing that. Saturn tried making excuses for himself, stating that he could not fight against Joy Boy's powers. However, in the end, it was not sufficient explanation, and Saturn ended up forfeiting his life, dying in one of the most gruesome ways. His body shriveled up and turned into a saggy old sack of bones, until there was nothing left but his skeleton. One Piece, Chapter 1125 did not just focus on the death of Saint Saturn. Oda moved incredibly quickly in order to find a replacement for him, which shocked all the community. Clearly, the 5 elders lost an important member, and they could not just go around with 4. The 4 elders simply doesn't have the same ring to it, which means that a new elder had to be elected. We knew that this could happen, but I not expected that it would happen in this chapter, which really surprised me, with the new elder being revealed as well. Oda wasted absolutely no time in showcasing the replacement of Saint Saturn, and it was revealed to be none other than the supreme commander of the Gods' Knights, Saint Garling Figureland. In the next panel, we saw Garling suit up and walk into the Room of Authority. Any One Piece who has paid attention to detail would know that the Room of Authority belongs to the elders. This is a place specifically for them, and none can enter without permission. The fact is that Garling entered and took his seat alongside the elders, which perplexed them. Eventually, he reveals that he was chosen as the godhead of science and defense, and that the Vegapunk York is going to be put under his supervision from here onwards. While the elders were utterly stunned upon hearing this, they put 2 and 2 together and figured out that Imu had decided to punish Saint Saturn, and that the one who had been chosen in his stead was Saint Garling. Garling confirmed their suspicions immediately after and asked them for their cooperation as they worked towards making the world a better place. Finally, One Piece, Chapter 1125, also focused on Dragon and his revolutionary army. We saw the revolutionary army being too stunned to even process things properly after Vegapunk's message finished. Thankfully, Koala had jotted down everything and went over every key bit of detail that Vegapunk revealed. Things finally started falling into place for the people of the Revolutionary Army. They finally realized why the Holy Land of Marijoa is built atop the Red Line, where floods cannot affect them, and, more importantly, structures such as Tequila Wolf were built at such an elevation. Everything is slowly starting to make sense, and with that, we know the Revolutionary Army must not waste even a second before making their move. Dragon was seen preparing alongside the coast, and he clearly recognizes the threat at hand. While the world government certainly is dangerous, with all their force and their ancient weapons, there is a threat closer to home, and that stems from the people that Dragon wants to save. Essentially, if the world does start to sink, the people are going to consume and destroy each other in an attempt to secure safe haven for themselves. Dragon wants to avoid this fate at all costs, which means that his war should start as quickly as possible, and that is what Dragon is going to be working towards. One Piece. Chapter 1125 clearly implies that the focus of the story could be on Dragon from here onwards.